I'd like to introduce to you, we have Walter Bespuda and his lovely wife, Mary Ellen Bespuda, and they've been kind enough to sit down and kind of tell us about the beginnings of how they got started in Orange. And Walt, you really got started as a baby, right? Yeah?
Yeah, I sure did.
And tell us about your family buying this farm.
Well, my family was originally, after they got married, they lived in Bridgeport. And since my father needed work, he got a job at Remington Arms Company in Bridgeport. He was a supervisor there, and it was an interesting job, but there was still somewheres along the line where there could have been golden opportunities to advance himself. So what happened, one of his friends got a notice that there was a farm for sale in the town of Orange. And this farmer, or so-called farmer, didn't have the amount of money that was allowed to buy the farm. So he asked my father to, if he could supply him with some of the money. So my father, being a good guy, he said, well, he seems like a decent guy. We'll take a chance at it, and we'll go and see and visit the farm. So I think that once this happened, they didn't. My father's friend didn't have the money, but my father did have the money in order to buy it. So it came about that they looked at it, and they came to a agreement with Mary L. Tracy to buy the farm. It was 125 acres with the plows, the harrow, the corn planter, and other equipment to continue farming. So as my father bought into this, he soon found out that it wasn't what he expected, that he would just change to farm life altogether. So this was city life to a farm life, which was completely different than what he expected, being in the city. Even though that he had, I'm sure that they had modern conveniences and other remedies to enjoy life, but they just wanted more land and a place where they can really enjoy it. So they got together again with his brother, and they got together $5,600 for.
That was the cost of everything.
That was the cost of everything, of the 125 acres. So then they started the farming business. The first part, my dad, he worked at the farm and partly at Remington for a short while. Then he gave up the Remington, and he devoted his farm life to farming. So then they had to, there was, the farm was run down. It was, I should say that the barn was in poor shape, and they were able to rebuild it and build some of the buildings that were irreparable. They did that. Some of the woodland was cleared. Some of the stone walls were removed, and they were made into larger fields. So as it went on, they expanded that. They finally got some cows. So as they
Did they do the dairy cows first?
they had the dairy cows first, and once they started the dairy cows, I think that originally they started the milk in cans, where it was delivered to different places in town, and they were picked up with cans and then bottled at a milk processing plant. So, but after that, they did that for a year or two, and then he had the bright idea that he could go into farming business. So what they did, they started out as a small operator, and they bottled their own milk. We had a small milk house here on the farm. I would guess that we probably made around 3 cans of milk a day, which was a pretty good size of milk to make at that time. But as time went on, the expansion went on, and the customers, word of mouth got around in the valley, and it built up to a milk route of a little over, at the time, it was probably in the neighborhood of 120 to 140 gallons. I mean, quarts of milk a day.
And you delivered that through the valley?
We delivered that through the valley.
Every day you did that?
Well, every other day.
Every other day. Wow.
Right.
That's a big job itself.
It was a big job in itself, and but we were able to hold that, and you know what I mean. And alongside with the dairy cows, we started to raise potatoes too. So we had a pretty good sized field of potatoes that was sold locally to basically to the milk customers that he had. It was a two-fame. You know, you buy milk, you buy potatoes. So
smart thinking back then.
that came along pretty well. So we continued that for a number of years, and then life goes on. I happen to grow up a little bit, and my darling wife come along, and she.
So now, what year did you get married?
We got married in 1960.
1960.
Right.
Excellent. And
So-
Mary Ellen, where did you come from? You weren't from Orange, were you?
No, North Haven.
North Haven.
I grew up
okay.
in North Haven.
All right.
I met
Awesome.
Walter square dancing at
Oh.
Uncle Dave's. Then you went square dancing.
Exactly.
That's where I met him.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, you made a good choice, Walt.
I made a exceptionally good choice. I mean, I am sure that it was a good choice, and she took to my way of life very good. I mean, here was a country girl, I mean a farm girl that came to the country,
No, a city girl.
or a city girl that came.
City girl.
That
Well,
came to
you
the,
had to learn quick back in those
she had to
days.
learn quick.
Yeah.
And
Quick.
a lot of the times weren't the greatest of times to learn. I mean,
We can skip those stories.
well, we can skip those stories. But
Walter, don't get too personal.
but she has been a very good wife.
Okay, we're gonna move on now, Walter.
Pardon?
We're gonna move on now. Judy, ask him another question, please.
Well, we're moving on. So you had the dairy cows, and then you told me at one point with the dairy operation, it was getting to people were no longer needing to have milk delivered to their homes. They were going to the store to buy it, or it just was getting not a efficient way of making money. So you went to beef cows. You switched over.
Right.
Okay, and then so what did you do with them? I mean, you kept them and had
Well,
them sent to for meat. I mean,
Well, we kept them actually for meat.
okay.
I mean, after we got rid of the dairy cows, for a short while there, we started in the horse business.
No,
We had horses for a while.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we did. If you remember, for a number of years, I don't remember exactly how long it was,
Yeah,
but
Boarded horses.
Okay, boarding. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
and then we decided that it was enough of horses, that let's try something different. So that's when we started the beef cattle. We started the beef cattle, and we had a number of what we call neighbors that bought meat from it,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
and
So locally, yeah.
it was sold locally. But what we did, we used to sell it by the quarters or the halves of beef at a time instead of the small pieces. You know what I mean? So it was that we were able to make a living at that. You know what I mean? And
Well, let me interrupt you. Did you ever sell it to Miller's Market in town?
no, we never did.
Okay.
Because we always sold it either a quarter or a side
Right.
of beef.
Right. Okay.
That's a half
Yeah.
of beef. No,
Yeah.
we never did sell it. No, what we normally did, we sold it to our neighbors close by,
Yeah.
Excellent.
and it was a lucrative business. I mean, we made some money at it.
Good.
It actually started very well, and we kept them for a few years, and then our children got grown up, and young Stephen decided that he wanted to expand in the chicken and turkey business.
So that was yeah.
Yeah, that's your
That's
our
a grandson.
Our grandson.
Yeah, grandson. It's amazing.
Right. So what they did after he got married, he decided to have a small stand by the roadside there, and to raise turkeys and poultry. But he started off with about 150 turkeys. That was a pretty good sized number
Yes.
of turkeys to start with. And he also had some laying birds and pullets that he raised for meat. So this is how we got started in the poultry business. So as the poultry business expanded,
One thing leads to another.
one,
right?
Yeah.
one thing led to another.
Oh,
So he did decide to try a few pigs. So he bought his first 6 pigs, I guess. He bought and he raised them, and he did very well with so he has since then bought more pigs. So I think that he will be able to, between the turkeys and the chickens and the pigs, I think that he's doing very well.
definitely. And Walt, along with, I'm looking over at the fields here, and I also realized another big thing that you had to do was obviously get hay. And so you did a lot of haying around town, and you still do, gathering up all the hay and stuff to feed the stock.
Yeah, we did a lot of hay, and you know what I mean? I would guess, you know what I mean? I was probably the second or third farmer in the town of Orange that had a baler at the time. And I did a lot of custom baling. And there isn't a place, or very few places, that in town that I didn't bale hay at one time or another. And so that was a plus to feed the cattle.
Right, right. And I think haying is always, to me, a fond memory.
I think
You know,
it
right? The families get together, everybody pitches in. And,
I think you're right.
Mary Ellen would show up with sandwiches and coffee to make sure everybody's still working. And just absolutely great memories on
I think
haying.
that I mean, as you remember, you know what I mean, in putting up hay, it was a family affair.
It was a job.
It was a job, but it was a job that was well taken care of.
Definitely. And Walt, you are surrounded by your family, which to me is a very unique situation in Orange. It really is. You're boarded, you've got your daughter across the field this way, you've got your son on the other side, you've got your grandson living in the homestead now with his family, and it's just wonderful. And you're very, very fortunate. And you oversee it all from your perch.
Yes, we do, right.
That's why we built this little room with all the windows.
Awesome, awesome. And Mary Ellen, you're still so involved in a lot of the stuff, especially what your daughter does. What are some of the things that Mary Ellen Jr. is working on there?
Oh, she does birthday parties, farm-orientated birthday parties, school groups, and at Christmas time she does Christmas wreaths.
Awesome.
So her parties are educational because she has all the animals over there and talks about all the animals with the kids.
Very good.
She has goats and cows and chickens and games for them to play and everything. So it's a very nice place to have a party.
Right. Oh, and it's very important too, I think. You know, it's important for the next generations to really see what a farm was and is and can be.
Oh yeah,
And-
and what comes from the animals, like the eggs from the chickens and the beef from the cows or the milk from the cows or whatever.
Great, great. Well, it's been quite a time living in Orange, and I really think having people like you that have really stuck with it through thick and thin, and have definitely left this beautiful piece of property. So hopefully it will continue. I think that's something that, as farmers, we all hope, and we keep the
Well,
land.
this is what we hope, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it will continue because, you know, the young kids are interested.
Good, good. Well, I think that's tribute to both of you. Seriously, you know, you've brought them along since they were little guys out in
Yeah,
the
that's-
fields and got them interested, and they found a niche, and I
Yeah.
think they're really going to be
Yeah.
able to continue it.
Yeah, they all
So-
have their own little thing that they
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. That's great. So, Walt, you have a silly story for us?
No, that's about
Oh, no
all
silly
that I
stories.
had.
Yeah, That's it. Well, I really appreciate so much what you've done. You hung in there with us today, so thank you very much for that. And it really was great.
Oh,
So,
you drove a school bus
oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, I've driven a school bus
for how
For-
many years?
42 years,
Oh,
so
that was something.
I got to know a lot of the kids that I took when I first started. I mean, what makes me feel great is many times that when there's an activity in town, that a young fella or a young girl will come up to me and he says, "Are you Mr. Bespuda? You know, I remember you as being my bus driver."
Yeah.
So that makes me feel really good to feel that I've made an impression on someone who has enough to remember me by, you know what I mean, from way back. But it's,
Well, let's talk about the other big thing that you've left,
what's that?
the country fair.
The country fair. Well, let me put it this way here. When the 4-H fair was held in Orange, there used to be a 4-H fair that had their carnival or their shindig, their fair. What we did, we had it behind the church on Orange Center Road, and that outgrew it. There were a number of boys, mostly that did run it, and it became a problem in 1951. In 51, that we outgrew the fairgrounds in Orange. So the opportunity came that we had to either move to North Haven or to not have the fair. So we chose to go to North Haven, and we've been there for a number of years. In fact, it's still at North Haven. You know what it isn't quite as big as we thought it would be, but it's still there anyways. Well, anyways, our bicentennial came along.
The sesquicentennial, yeah.
Or
the
sesquicentennial.
150th.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was a big thing, you know. So Mary Ellen and I, we just thought that it was a good time to, why not start another fair? So we put our heads together. We got our committees together, and we had one heck of a time. I mean, that first year, what we did, nobody could say yes or nobody could say no, because we didn't know what we were doing. But it was a success, and since then, it has grown to where it is today. And I mean from the first fair, which was a one-time event, to 10-year not a 40-year extravaganza that has done the town. It's put Orange on the town, really.
It really has put it on the map. I agree. It's an annual affair that everybody comes to.
I think it is. You know what I mean? So it is, I mean, has grown to where it will compete with almost any fair that's allowed in the state of Connecticut.
So the
Centennial, yeah.
Centennial sort of spawned.
That was it.
Yeah, that was the first. We were co-chairman with Jim and Helen Ewan, and that was the first fair.
Yeah.
And it was so successful that we decided we'll continue it.
Yeah. It's been great.
And it will continue, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, Walt has we all had to sign a contract, remember? You know, to volunteer up there, we had to sign
Yeah,
a
we
contract.
heard that.
And you just won't show anybody where we signed that
No way.
contract. Yeah.
No way.
So,
I mean,
Once you take a job, Judy, it's forever.
definitely.
You cannot quit.
I've been up there 42 years
Yeah.
volunteering, and it's
The nicest
awesome.
thing about this fair that makes us feel really proud is that our children and grandchildren of the original, chairman are still working at the fair.
Yeah.
So it's really a family thing.
It is. It's
a
awesome.
very nice event, and a lot of events take place at the fairgrounds.
Right. And that's thanks to you, really. Thanks to both of you and the Ewans to getting it
Yeah.
going.
Yeah,
And it definitely is successul.
yeah.
Definitely.
But the first fair was fun because you didn't know what to expect, and nobody could complain and tell you, oh, you should have done it this way or that way or something. So.
Right. Oh, well, you
And
did
for
a
the
great
most part, it's kept its tradition, right?
Right.
But I'm sure as time goes on, things will evolve, but for the most part, it's probably gonna. You've found your format for it, right?
Right.
And now
Definitely.
it's
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and new events may be added here and there, but
Yeah.
the basic of it, a 2-day affair, and the
Yeah.
animals, and the horse draw, and oxen, I think
Yeah.
all of that will
Yeah.
stay, and the craft,
yeah,
Yeah, and
it's become part of a tradition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
tractor pull and
Yes.
the new thing is the truck
The
pull
truck
on
pull,
Friday
yeah.
evening. That event is unbelievable.
It is.
The people it draws,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
And I think the other thing too about the fair that is amazing, and I don't know if a lot of people understand this, it's self-sustaining. All the money that is taken in covers all your costs. You've got money extra that's buying the barns for the animals and the crafts, and it's a wonderful, like, self-contained little city, and it just does its thing, and it,
Oh yeah.
so, and it's just for the pleasure
Yeah.
of all the people.
All the townspeople.
So
Yeah.
it's run very beautifully, really.
Yeah.
So we thank you for that.
well, what's the good part about it is, although we have, improved the fairgrounds to from a pumpkin patch to a field that is playable for baseball and everything like that, and that this hasn't cost us a dime.
Right.
All the monies that we've made, we've accumulated by saving the money from one year to the following year, and I was always able to make sure that we kept enough money in case we had a rain out, which we never. We had one rain out
One.
Yeah.
in that period of time, but we could cover the fair with the monies that we made the following year. So we have never ever lost money for the town,
Right.
and we've built.
Lots of good
We've
memories.
built 7 buildings
Yeah, 7 buildings.
Yeah.
Amazing.
that we made there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell them who cleared the fairgrounds.
Yeah, the town.
No, your 4-H group.
Yeah.
My 4-H group. I was a 4-H leader at the time, and I was able to get a few of the boys. Jimmy Zioli, Kevin Monk, Steve Bespuda, young Steven, and that we cleared the land there. And there it didn't cost us anything either. So overall, what we did there, we beautified the fairgrounds so it's usable for everything right now. And I'm sure that this will continue because it's on the map, and it's not. You won't give up. That's for sure.
You won't let us give up.
I won't let it give up.
Well, I think we've probably exhausted you beyond. I do apologize.
Well, it was interesting to do.